You're listening to Podcast PXN, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo. Let's do this.
Hello everyone and welcome to Podcast PXN episode 90. I'm Rashan, aka Roro, and I'm joined today by Daniel and Christian. I am so sorry everyone. This is definitely not the first time we're recording this, as we say every time that we have technical difficulties. But yeah, this is the first try.
Yeah. No other streams out there. They don't exist.
Nope. And don't go looking for them because you won't find anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, big thank you to everyone still watching live and listening live. We record every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and on Twitch. Just search up Podcast PXN and you shall find us. We've got a lot to talk about today, including the Battlefield reveal. And as I said, well, I never said this before. This is my first time saying this, of course, that I'm very excited to talk to you guys about that. But before we get there, we always start off the news, the PXN News of the Week. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. And the first story today is, as we get closer and closer to E3, people are starting to reveal a little bit more of their plans for the event. And Capcom recently revealed theirs. They're going to be premiering their little digital showcase on June 14th. Their lineup includes the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, Monster Hunter Stories 2, Monster Hunter Rise, and Resident Evil Village. We can catch them obviously on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So yeah, as I said, we're getting closer and closer to E3. More and more companies are revealing their showcases. Out of these four, are you guys excited for anything, or maybe you guys have some potential surprise that you want to see from Capcom? What are your guys' hype levels for Capcom in particular at E3?
Yeah.
Dan, would you like to go first, Dan?
Sure. I'm very excited for more Resident Evil Village. I mean, if we get another a single expansion for that game, I would be super on board for that. And I think Christian would echo those comments as well. And I'm just interested to see what they do with that game, I guess, because the ending of Village was I felt like they did a pretty good job at kind of rounding out that story. Obviously, there's still kind of some looming questions there, but it would be interesting to see them kind of dive back into that universe and see what else we can get out of Village, I guess.
Yeah, that's crazy if there's going to be any kind of expansion, because that game just came out. Honestly, I've yet to play it, but I've been wanting to get into it for a little while. Just haven't started it yet. My excitement might be with Monster Hunter Rise. Is that coming to other platforms? Can we see that coming to maybe a PC or other home consoles? Who knows? I would have 100% start to play that on other consoles. My Switch Joy-Con broke, and I've yet to buy another one. So I don't play games on Switch anymore unless it's
Monster Hunter coming to PC would be pretty cool. I feel like the Monster Hunter community would really be happy about that. My hype levels aren't super high for Capcom. I think they're in a fantastic place right now. Ever since Monster Hunter World, they've just been kind of killing it with their games. So I'm excited to see what they have to offer, but no really crazy expectations. It'll be cool to see, like Daniel said, what kind of DLC they may have planned for Village, because I know 7 had a couple of mini episodes as well, so that'll be cool if they have something to tease in that sort of area. But yeah.
And you're definitely gonna play that expansion, right, Roro?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think you guys may be surprised what I've been playing when we get to that part. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Huh.
I'll just scroll down and look at it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah. But moving on to our next story, Shin Megami Tensei's release date has been leaked. And as we talked about just now, E3 is getting closer, so, there's a couple of leaks here and there. The official Japanese website for Shin Megami Tensei V was mistakenly updated with release dates for the upcoming game, including its release date of Thursday, November 11th, 2021. As the information came from the Japanese website, it is possible that the release date is only from Japan. However, the game was previously stated to have a worldwide release, so we would only presumably be closer to other territories as well. Yeah, Shin Megami Tensei, not sought after. I'm trying to think of the right word. Um,
Acclaimed.
Acclaim series. But what is the word that people use when you're very excited for it to come out? Anticipated. There we go. Yes, very anticipated title for that community, for the JRPG community. I love Persona, but I've never dove into the Shin Megami Tensei series. I'm sure I would enjoy it. So this may be a good jumping on point. I think this series isn't like again, I haven't played it. I think they're like separate stories, kind of like Persona, but I could be completely off base with that. But yeah, are you guys excited for Shin Megami Tensei, or is that just something that's completely out of your, enjoyment, Christian? I'll ask you.
From what I've heard of, from friends on Twitter, they love this series. I've yet to try it, so I am super curious to see what this game is all about, and yeah, I'll get my hands on it.
I will say, Christian, it is a Switch exclusive, so you're gonna have to get your Joy-Con.
I'll have to buy a Joy-Con. Yeah.
And I have no experience with this series at all. I didn't even know that this existed until you guys just talked about it. You're like, it's well regarded. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know anything about it. So yeah, I'm excited for people who are excited about this.
Yes. Yeah.
A question for the gang.
Pardon?
Yeah.
I have a quick question for the gang.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, were you moving on, or were you saying something else about
I was going to say something else about it, so please ask away.
E3 starts tomorrow, is that correct? We get the Summer Game Fest?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's possible
it's dawning on me.
Yeah, it's crazy. I didn't realize that Summer Games Fest was tomorrow either until I checked Twitter, I think a couple of hours ago, and holy crap, tomorrow is June 10th. It's getting started. I'm excited.
And I'm surprised at how many things are on E3 schedule. I never, when they first announced that it was coming back in a digital form, I didn't think there was any way they were going to fill out a big show, but they have a ton of stuff on the docket. So
yeah, there's a bunch of people who have been making to-do lists / schedules for the show. I'm going to come across her name right now, Sania. I may be pronounced that wrong, but she made a super awesome. She's guides and design at IGN, so that makes a lot of sense. But she made a really cool to-do list of just a bunch of events that are going on at E3, and just you check it off once you've watched it, I guess. And there's a lot on there, so yeah. I'm very excited, very excited. But moving on to our next story, Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 7 has got an official trailer. And there's a lot of crazy people in there, including Rick Sanchez, Superman, and a couple of other people there. Epic Games' Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 7 will feature an alien invasion, and the new season kicks off with a fresh Battle Pass. However, rather than unlocking cosmetics via the Battle Pass levels, players will instead earn Battle Stars. In Invasion, Battle Stars can be exchanged for Battle Pass rewards in whichever order you fancy. There will also be special rewards that will become available after purchasing all the other rewards. So that in particular got me really excited. I know there's so many times where I jump into Fortnite for a particular skin. Last season, I really wanted to get the Raven skin, but I just fell off of it. It was level 70 something. And there have been times in the past where I've been so close to getting the skin that I want, and I just didn't make it. So I really think the Battle Stars is really cool, so I can kind of, pick and choose the skins that I want to unlock without having to play an excessive amount of it. But yeah, are you guys excited for Chapter 2 Season 7 of Fortnite? Are you guys planning on jumping back in?
No. But oh, sorry. I'm happy for everyone, but Fortnite just isn't my thing. I played for a while, but what's surprising to me, I always forget how huge this is. Probably the biggest game in the world, and yeah. I forget it constantly. Seeing Superman in this game, almost got me a little bit emotional, and watching people on TikTok react to it was insane. I love seeing stuff like this.
Yeah.
It is insane seeing the amount of skins that are in this game now. I can't even imagine how many files they have in this game now from all of the skins that they've had over the past 4+ years now, maybe 5 years. I don't even remember exactly when it came out, but That's a lot of skins to freaking keep in your game, and you gotta keep that forever, or at least as long as the game is running. So, yeah, that's insane. Superman skin is cool for Superman fans. I always tell myself, like, man, I want to go back to that because I played for a long time, especially in season 1, and or I'm sorry, chapter 1, not season 1, chapter 1, and I just kind of was like, man, I gotta play other things. Like, I was playing so much Fortnite, I was like, I can't play anymore. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll go back and just, play in a little bit, I don't know.
Yeah. Every season I'm like, oh, I'm going to get back into Fortnite. And I do for a little bit, and then I just fall off of it. I do think that they're doing a lot of interesting stuff with the alien invasion. I feel like they kind of step up their live events almost every single time. So definitely the trailer got me interested, but we'll have to wait and see if I will actually jump in and stick with it.
Some of their events I think is really cool still. Like, they had like a premiere or whatever event where you would go to the movie theater area in the map and you could like watch premieres for stuff. I think that's a super cool idea. Like, I hope they keep doing stuff like that.
So Christopher Nolan and his brother John are like kind of like big gamers, so like they would have trailers for Tenet premiere at in Fortnite. Insane.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That is insane.
Yeah, it's as you said, Christian, at the beginning of this, it's sometimes we forget how big Fortnite is. Like, Star Wars has been a part of it. As we're seeing, like, Superman as well, Marvel, for crying out loud. Like, there's so many huge properties that are like, if anything, Fortnite is doing them a favor, like, to shine light on their properties. Not MCU, but like, it's just really cool to see that. I feel maybe not even either of them are doing favors. I just want to work together. It's just such a big property that saying no to Fortnite is just kind of silly. I'm looking at you, Nintendo, with the Samus skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get some anime characters in there.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, heck, Rick and Morty, or having Rick in there is kind of jarring. Like, seeing his style in there is kind of very interesting.
Yeah. Moving on to the next story, the Ratchet Clank review roundup. So I'm reading from Nibelian on Twitter. He got a really cool, like, congested, dumbed down version of kind of all the fantastic thoughts of Ratchet Clank review. I'll give you the review scores right away, and they're really good. VentureBeat gave it a 5 out of 5. Press Start gave it a 9.5 out of 5. GameSpot gave it a 9. IGN gave it a 9. The lowest score it got was 8.5, which is the lowest score from Easy Allies. One of the quotes I'm going to read says, "It's an extremely immersive piece of software designed to show off what the PS5 can do. But more importantly, it's a great entry in the nearly 2-decade-old franchise, offering fans more wacky weapons, clever writing, and fresh biomes to explore." I'll also say an image that he has in this thread is absolutely bonkers. How he has like a zoom-up image of Ratchet's eyes, and like the detail of the irises in there, like his. It's great, and like you can see the reflection of the world around him as well in the eyes. It's like it's mind-blowing. But
was that the picture of the in-game model?
Yes, yeah. It was just Ratchet hanging out somewhere.
The fur, man.
Yeah.
And
it's so furry.
It's so furry. It is. Like, you can see like the individual furs as well on his face. It's crazy. But Christian, of course we've been talking about how excited we are for Ratchet and Clank. I don't think we weren't going to play it anyway, but how do these review scores make you feel leading into its release on Friday?
I mean, the review score. I mean, I knew it was gonna be a good game. I didn't even look at the reviews at all until that picture, like the splash with all like the review scores. I didn't even watch a review or read anything. I actually did listen a little bit to the Kind of Funny Games cast, hearing them talk a little bit about sort of the game and what their impressions were, but that was it. I'm excited to get my hands on it. Like, I want something that's gonna be like a visual set piece on like my big TV and put my head on and really immerse myself in the game. What's fantastic here, I'm sure you'll talk about it, and I'll just mention it, is the fact that Insomniac was able to make these games, all 4 of the games that they've put out recently, with no crunch, which is amazing. Yeah. Should be an industry standard.
Yeah, it should be. Daniel, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, that's insane. The fact that there's no crunch in a game that literally the maximum amount of time that they could have spent in this game was from Ratchet and Clank 2016 to now, because you have the Spider-Man team and then the Ratchet team. That's pretty amazing. Like, they're putting out a really quality game in that time span. And from everything I've read about it, it seems like it's going to be like a 10 out of 10 from me, because some of the complaints that I've heard is like it's on the shorter side, I guess. But that's actually a positive on my side of the spectrum, because I don't have much time anymore. And so, yeah, I'm super down for that, and I'm loving that. Did you guys see the weapon that can like pull in riffs from other PlayStation games? Yeah, that's so cool. You can pull in like Uncharted like vehicles, and awesome. Yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, super excited to play it, and sad that I'm gonna be here in North Carolina on Friday when it comes out. But yeah.
I'll DM you a picture of me playing it. Like, look how much fun I'm having, Dan.
Rub it in.
I hate you.
I'm in the same boat. I don't even have a PlayStation 5. I can't even like dream about playing it.
Oh, that's
I mean, I
true.
can't dream about playing it, but yeah. Oh man, it's sad. Very sad. But I'm excited for you guys, and I will be watching a lot of Twitch streams and such. So if either of you guys are planning to stream it, I will be there for sure.
Nice.
But yeah. Moving on to our next story, Overwatch is getting cross-platform play. Finally, Overwatch launched in 2016, but it's getting a significant feature soon. Blizzard Entertainment is releasing a cross-play beta that will let PC and console gamers play in matches together. Developer says the update is coming soon. Until now, the communities on PC, Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo were segmented, but this update should make it easier to find online matches to join, whether it's with your friends or with random players. Some of the most popular online titles feature crossplay like Fortnite and Call of Duty, and it's about time that Overwatch got it. And I think it's great. There's no cross progression, unfortunately. That is something that I've wanted kind of almost more than crossplay, because I own Overwatch on PC and on my PlayStation, and I would like to play it more on PC, but man, I just miss my skins. But yeah, what do you guys think about this feature finally coming to Overwatch? Does it bring you back in, or are you just, happy for the people who wanted this?
I think I'm kind of in the boat of like I'm waiting for Overwatch 2 at this point, because I enjoyed my time with Overwatch and thought it was a really good game. I just I don't see this necessarily bringing me back in, but I do think it's fascinating, because I thought that Overwatch 2 was essentially keeping very similar things that Overwatch 1 had. So like, is this going to be like cross progression or crossplay with Overwatch 2 as well, or is it just going to be crossplay between consoles? Because I know a lot of the features and stuff like that are going to actually, some of the new features I thought they said was also going to apply to the original Overwatch, because I thought it was like the same play space, but I don't know. I may be remembering that wrong. But yeah, I'm down for this. Crossplay and cross progression is always an awesome thing to come. So, and it always helps with population as well. So if you have one platform that isn't as high population wise, it helps out to have a huge pool of population from many consoles. So yeah.
I wonder if they're doing crossplay for like the competitive modes as well. I know there are some people in like some of the friend groups I'm in that were like talking about this today, who are like refusing to play with console players because they play on PC, because like that's where you get the most out of your competitiveness. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Sorry.
No, go for it. Go for it.
I feel like the best way to do crossplay is always by how you're playing the game. So like the input device. So Master Chief Collection does a great job of that, where it detects whether you're using controller or keyboard and mouse. Actually, you have to tell the game, I'm using this, and then it detects to make sure that you're using that. And then it'll match you against people that are using that same input device. I feel like that's the best way to do it, because obviously someone on keyboard and mouse isn't going to play the same as someone on a gamepad. So, yeah.
Wait, Dan, you play Master Chief Collection?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's crazy concept.
Ro, you will be happy though. I did see on Twitter that supposedly cross progression is coming soon in a future update. So
that's good. That's great to hear.
Nice.
It'll be good for you.
Yes, I would love to get back into Overwatch. But as Daniel said, like Overwatch 2 hopefully isn't too far away. I know it's next year, but hopefully sooner rather than later next year. But yeah, I'm still a little bit confused as what you were talking about, Daniel, with how Overwatch 2 and Overwatch 1 are going to be like not completely different, but also separate at the same time. I'm still confused about that.
Like the whole thing that they originally pitched, like I was very confused because they were saying like we're taking elements from Overwatch 1 and it's not like I don't know. I guess we'll see once it comes out. I was just not really clear on that.
Yeah. But moving on to our next story. The Prince of Persia got an update, but not one that I don't think fans were happy to hear. A message from the Prince of Persia, the Sands of Time remake dev team reads as follows. Hello Prince of Persia fans, Ubisoft Forward is around the corner and we wanted to use this time to thank you for the amount of support that you have shown us in the past year. As you might have already read, Prince of Persia, the Sands of Time remake will not be in the Ubisoft Forward. We are making great progress on the game to release next year, but we are not ready to share any additional information just yet. We will share an update as soon as we are ready. Until then, we wanted to express our appreciation for your continued support, as well as your patience with us on your journey. We're looking forward to the moment when we will be able to share more with you, the dev team. So, Prince of Persia is not going to be at the Ubisoft Forward or I guess at E3 at all. It's crazy to think that this game would have released already at the beginning of this year, but it's been pushed to next year, which is pretty crazy. But as we talked about a little bit with the Ratchet Clank, don't want these guys to crunch. If they need the time to make it better, go ahead and do that. It's just crazy that they would have put this out already. That's just what's kind of blowing my mind. But yeah, what do you guys think about Prince of Persia? Are either of you excited for it, Daniel?
So, Roro, I think we were talking about it when they first showed this reveal trailer, and I was like, man, this doesn't even look like a remake. They have remake in the title, and it did not look like a remake whatsoever. It looked like a half-baked remaster, in my opinion. So, like, I hope that this extra time that they're spending on it is going into, like, making it an actual, like, full-fledged remake. I kind of doubt it, because obviously we've already seen the direction that they were planning to take with it, which it is disappointing. I've never actually played any of the Prince of Persia games, and I was kind of excited about the idea of, I was excited about playing a remake because I was like, man, that may get me into the series, because I actually started with Assassin's Creed, which is it was inspired by Prince of Persia, and I never played the Prince of Persia games. So yeah, it is a little disappointing that we aren't getting that full-fledged remake experience, but maybe, who knows, maybe they'll delay it and give them the time to make something, more akin to a remake. Christian, I saw your upset nature of being a huge Prince of Persia
it's fine.
fan.
Like if you missed it, you missed it. That's okay. Like it's fine, perfectly fine that you missed one of the best games ever made. But like whatever.
Wow.
Okay, no. Before, like, Prince of Persia: Sands of Time is like one of my favorite games. Like that game is just so special. I love like the charisma that game oozes, like in every, like, just playing that game, and your character is like commenting, but it's the narrator of the character, and it just feels so wonderful to play. When I saw the trailer for the remaster, or I guess remake, I'll agree with Dan. It looks more like a half-baked like remaster, and like I saw it, I'm like, no, I'm not interested in this at all. I don't want this. I will not go near this. When they delayed it, and now we get like a further delay, I'm actually kind of excited to see what it's going to look like now. To see what kind of extra work is going to make this like a fully fledged game that deserves my money, right? So yeah, take all the time you need, make a nice polished product. I'd be happy to check this out if it looks good. I would see a Prince of Persia like sequel or like a reboot, or even like the 2009 Prince of Persia would have been cool to see, but
yeah. You know what, guys? We've got to give Ubisoft some credit, because of course, they're behind the scenes working on a brand new Splinter Cell game, right? I mean,
Yeah, I'm sure.
they're definitely doing that, right? I mean,
There's no way.
I don't mean
they
to...
trolled us again this week.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah. I'm sure you guys saw that. They trolled us again this week where that game that's taking inspiration from Splinter Cell and Rainbow Six and all these things. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Just give me a Splinter Cell game, Ubisoft.
What everyone wants.
Yeah.
They would print them money.
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't. It's crazy. These companies sometimes, like, we know, you know what we want. Just give it to us. Just give it to us. I don't mean to deepen the knife in your heart that's already been placed there by Daniel and Christian, but I have also not played Prince of Persia, and it wasn't until like a couple of years ago that I thought all this time I thought the games were based on the movie, not the other way around.
Oh no!
I had no
Bro,
idea.
that hurt.
I was like,
no.
oh, this is really cool that Ubisoft made like a game spin-off of Prince of Persia and people really like it. That doesn't happen often, but it was the other way around. Wow. I'm so sorry. And to everybody listening, I'm so sorry as well. I'm sure that also hurt you guys there too.
You guys have to play it now.
Yeah.
But moving on to our next story, Naughty Dog is working on a multiplayer project. In a number of multiplayer-focused job listings, Naughty Dog has expressed its goal to bring the same level of ambition and quality of our signature story-driven games to its new online experience. It's almost certain the team is referring to its spin-off standalone Last of Us multiplayer game, which was announced over a year ago prior to the release of The Last of Us Part 2. The details of the project remain very much under wraps, but its scale seems to grow with each soundbite released. Yeah, I just read that and I didn't realize that this was confirmed to be a Last of Us multiplayer game. That has me even more excited because I would love Factions to return for that, because I played that so much back in the day. But what are your guys' hype levels for a Naughty Dog multiplayer focused game?
Yeah. I'm definitely interested to see what it turns into. I'm kind of on the mindset of like what can they do to like change the landscape of what the multiplayer game could be, like how like incorporate narrative threads into multiplayer. A lot of people have tried that in the past and most of them unsuccessful in doing so. So I think it would be super cool to see some kind of story thread that kind of runs you through the multiplayer experience, if that makes sense. So I feel like that would be super cool, and if anybody can do it, Naughty Dog probably could do it. So
Christian, are you
and
excited?
Road,
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong, but you said that this team is confirmed to be the one that's working on the Last of Us multiplayer project.
Yeah,
Is that what the article was mentioning?
That's what the article said. That's
Okay.
news to me after reading it, but that's what they're saying here, that this is the Last of Us multiplayer game, standalone multiplayer game.
I'm just so curious to see or even get like an idea of what their internal teams look like. Like I want to know if a team is working on new IP, if there's like the one team working on the multiplayer project, and if there's the other that's working on whatever kind of remake of The Last of Us Part 1 that they're doing, right?
There's a
Yeah,
lot
that's
going
what
on
has
over
me.
there. Yeah.
But I like that those teams at Naughty Dog are always super ambitious to push whatever games to the next level. If they want to do that for multiplayer, please do, because I loved Last of Us Factions. Like I found it so interesting, so I'm on board.
Yeah.
And also take your
Yeah.
time.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I will happily wait as long as I need to for whatever that comes out. But yeah, as Daniel and you were saying, like I'm so excited for what story may be implemented to a multiplayer game as they push the boundaries almost every time they make something, at least technically. But it'll be really cool because I love their stories. Maybe there's like, obviously there's teams and factions, but it would be really cool if like each gameplay starts up with like a cutscene or something, and you're kind of progressing through a story, but also facing off against other people. Like it'd be really cool to see what they have in mind for, a Last of Us multiplayer game. But yes, moving on to the next story, Google Stadia is expanding. Google Stadia expands to Android TV OS devices later this month. If you've been interested in trying out Google Stadia and recently purchased your own and purchase or own an Android OS TV, June 23rd is a date to circle on your calendar. That's the date that the streaming app finally becomes available on a range of compatible TVs, such as the Google Chromecast, NVIDIA Shield TV, and many others. Well, not many others, there's like a couple more on this list, but it's really cool that it's finally expanding to at least the Chromecast. I thought that was something that should have been done a very long time ago. But
a Google product.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it wasn't too long ago that we realized that the Google Stadia store didn't even have a search bar until a couple of months ago. So they've kind of been a little bit slow about implementing things that kind of seem like no-brainers to everybody else. But I think this is I was going to say a good step in the right direction, but I don't really know what they could possibly do to save that platform. People are leaving.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
Because on paper, like they're doing everything right, but then like it's not in anyone's like really like realms of what they care about. It just comes and goes each week, I feel like.
Yeah. And Google even shut down the development of a couple of projects like somewhat recently, right? Because didn't Jade Raymond leave from there or got let go?
Yeah.
So, yeah, crazy.
Yeah. Well, for the people out there who are playing Google Stadia or interested, and you've got a Chromecast, then there you go. That's good. That's very good. But I'm with you, Daniel and Christian. Every time I hear news on it, whether it be good or bad news, it's like, okay, like, I can't believe you guys are still kicking, but good for you. Yeah. But, yeah, hopefully something big enough comes along for the people still remaining that, gets turned around. It'll be really cool to see a No Man's Sky redemption arc for Stadia somehow, but only time will tell.
Okay, realistically, what would get you guys to play Stadia?
If it was
what would be the thing?
It'd have to be like a big exclusive because like I already have a nice PC and consoles, so like I have no really use for Stadia, I guess, unless they had a big exclusive. Yep,
I'm right with you, Dan.
Yeah, and
I agree.
And I think that's out the window now, right? As Danny was saying, the places that they've closed down and shut down projects on, that's not even in the near future, if at all. So
no.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I agree. I said if it was free, maybe I would use it, but that doesn't make any sense for them. But yeah. We shall see. Next on the list is the Playdate. I don't know if you guys have heard about this before now, but that's been on my radar, very like off in the distance, like kind of waiting on what may come next, what they might say next. But it's got a release date now of I think, or a pre-order date, I think, at least. But let me read the article and see. Panic has announced that the Playdate, its 179 handheld console with a crank and a black and white screen, will be available for pre-order in July, with shipping starting later in the year. The company doesn't have a specific date lined up just yet, but says it'll provide at least a week's notice before orders open. So we got a little presentation earlier this week, and they showed off a bunch of games, specifically 21 games out of the 24 titles that will feature... Oh, sorry. Let me just read this quote here. Finally, Panic has announced 21 out of the 24 titles that will feature in the Playdate's first season. Details are intentionally being kept secret until each game is automatically downloaded onto the device. Owners will get 2 games a week over 12 weeks. And there's a bunch of games here in the article. Some of them are called Flipper Lifter, Hyper Meteor. There's one that has to do with time. You like use the crank on the device and you can rewind time. Some really interesting titles on here. I believe one of the creators of, what was it, Oberdin? What was the name of that game again?
Yeah, you got it.
It was called Oberdin? Yeah, well, that creator is making a game for this as well, so that's something that excites me very much, and the style of that game definitely lends itself well to the Playdate and the style that they have going on here. So I thought it was really cool, and the price $179 is pretty affordable, I'd say, and it's really cool just to see like somebody trying their hand at doing something unique in the video game console space. But are either of you excited? Christian, I'll ask you, are you excited for the Playdate in any shape or form?
I think the playdate is super cool, especially with how unique the premises of each of the games are, and with the promise of, I think, getting more games after you buy it, if I remember correctly. I think it's so cool. My only like concern, I guess, is that I have just already so many consoles and toys to begin with that like $180 is for me is a little steep. If I'm not sure how long I'll stick around with playing it, even though I want to.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as Christian too. Like, the only thing I can't justify is like, after the 24 games come out for this, like, are they able to continue to release stuff on it, or is like that the cap? Is it just the 24 games?
Let me see here. I gotta reopen the article.
Oh,
sorry.
Oh, you're good. You're good. I was just curious because like. I was just thinking, like, $189, like, Xbox Series S costs $299. Like, $110 more, you get a next-gen console, and you can literally play, any third-party game or first-party game from Microsoft. Like, I just don't know. I don't know if the value will be there at $189, and, like, that's my only concern. It might be, like, a cool thing, a very interesting and different type of thing, especially with the crank and different mechanics for that. Like he said, with the time game where you go forward and backwards in time with it, that's really cool. But yeah, Christian.
But to answer that question, Dan, they do have seasons planned, so you will eventually get more games on it. Yeah.
Okay. That's kind of cool, actually. Then. And I guess I'm assuming you can cycle them out or, install what you want on there. I'm sure we'll get more information when it comes out. But yeah, that's kind of cool then. If they do like a season type system and keep adding new content to it, that might be interesting.
I think the coolest kind of thing they're doing is almost like the drip feed release of games with 2 a week. Like that's going to keep the conversation going for a long time. With 24 games per season plan, like every week people are gonna have something to talk about. Who knows? I may get swayed over because of that.
True. And you never know, like that one gem may come out and people will be like, man, look at this, check this out, and get people interested.
Absolutely.
And moving on to our final story for PXN News of the Week is Rainbow Six Quarantine is now being renamed, for the third time, as Rainbow Six Extraction.
The first time, bro.
It was Quarantine, and then it changed to something else, right? Parasite, and then it changed to Extraction.
No,
no,
that was like a leak of what they were trying to maybe they were considering naming it Parasite, but it wasn't official until this.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, for the first time, and they finally got it. And it's pretty good. I'm excited to see more. I watched the little tease that they gave us. They kind of explained more than showed, which is okay because they are planning to do a reveal at the Ubisoft Forward on June 12th. But Christian, how are you excited for Rainbow Six Quarantine or Extraction? Sorry, and have you had any experience with the Rainbow Six franchise?
I love the Rainbow Six games. Like. Siege is like one of the most fun experiences I've had playing a multiplayer game. Last gen, I haven't touched it since the new consoles launched. So I'm excited to get into the Rainbow Six world again. What's going to be interesting about this game is it's not PvP. From what I understand from the little teaser, it's a co-op shooter. And honestly, I think that's okay. Like I love hopping in with a few buddies and trying to survive. Like this is the reason why I play like Destiny PvE. So getting a little bit more in that like hardcore space with Rainbow Six Extraction should be a lot of fun. And I'm excited to see more at the Ubisoft Forward.
It is interesting. Like Rainbow Six Siege has been going for so long now, since like I think 2014, and they continuously keep adding new content for it, and that game's doing really well. It's interesting that they're naming this game a Rainbow Six game because, like, it's almost so different from a traditional Rainbow Six game, I guess, that it's like, why not just name that something else? But I guess at the same time, you also have brand power of Rainbow Six. But Yeah, I love the Rainbow Six games as well. Like Rainbow Six Vegas and Vegas 2, I used to play those all the time back in the day with my friends and from high school, and like that was so much fun. And Siege is amazing. It's really amazing what Ubisoft has done with the post-launch content for that game. They've had like 7 seasons, maybe more, of Siege. So yeah. I'm down to see what they can do with Extraction. I almost said Quarantine, but yeah, I want to see what they can do with a co-op type experience, like Christian said.
Yeah, and that's what attracted me to it even more was the co-op aspect of it. I do like multiplayer games, PvP, but I really do like a good co-op game where it's like you said, Christian, like Destiny, like getting a group of pals together and facing off against like some really tough AI people is just my cup of tea rather than, some angry people shouting at me, usually. I just got to find a good group of friends to make these games. I do have a good group of friends. It's just that I just never get the chance to play these games sometimes. But
Christian, was it Rainbow Six Vegas that you could take your picture with the Xbox Live camera and then you could put it on your character?
Yeah, I didn't have an Xbox, but my friend did. Yeah, and that sounds familiar. Yeah,
that was so freaking crazy. People would take crazy pictures too.
It was with the Kinect camera, right?
I think it was before the Kinect. It was with that old. I forget what it's called. Yeah, but it was like the really old Xbox 360 camera before Kinect was the thing, and it was just so awful, but it was so funny to see people use that.
Moving on. Is the Xbox camera is like the really small, like white one, right? Like a webcam almost.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it says.
Let's bring that back.
Xbox Live Vision is what it's called.
Yes,
Xbox
that was
Live
it.
Vision
The
camera.
Vision camera. Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yes.
But moving on to the games we are playing, Daniel, what have you been playing?
Yes. So I've been on vacation, so I haven't had time to play much, and I brought my Xbox, so I've just been playing a little bit of MCC every night. So, yeah, I don't have much to update. Sorry, guys. I'm a disappointment to you.
No, it's okay. You're enjoying vacation.
I never said it again.
Yes, absolutely. There's the beach out there somewhere, but it's dark now, so you can't see it. So yeah, there's that.
Well,
You don't have any games on your phone? xCloud?
Oh, yeah.
I could have done that actually. I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
Candy Crush?
Connect. Yeah. Play some Candy Crush. Yeah. Actually, you say that jokingly, but I downloaded this dinosaur game for my nephew, and he's been playing the crap out of that with me. So I'm getting flashlighted from the outside. I'm guessing
what is that?
Someone's playing a prank on me from the outside. So yeah. That's great. It's my nephew. My nephew's out there with my mom shining a light in here. So
It's the Rainbow Six operators. Hi.
yeah, they're coming in. They're breaking in the windows.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, Christian, what have you been playing?
So I think last week I was telling you guys I bought a Quest 2
Yes.
with a friend of mine. We've been playing Beat Saber every night. Like, all right, you ready? And like we'll play for like, I don't know, an hour. He usually has to go to bed early, like around like 9ish, because he has work like at 4 in the morning. And he stayed up like till almost 11. We were just playing Beat Saber.
Nice.
It's such a fun time. We bought 2 of the packs already. We say we wouldn't buy any more Quest games, and we keep buying the music packs in Beat Saber. But that's how it goes. And then I saw Resident Evil 3 remake was on sale on PlayStation. I was like, I should finally get to that. And so I did, and I started. It's not a scary game. I thought it was. It's really not. It's just an action game, but I'm having fun. It's a great game to stream as well. And the last thing I will be playing is I'm gonna pre-order Ratchet tonight, so that way it downloads overnight, and then start playing tomorrow. Can't wait.
You know, Christian, that was my one complaint about RE3 remake was that Nemesis was like so talked up like about how scary he was, but really like the parts that he's in are so minimal in the game that it was like really disappointing. I agree with you on that.
But for like $16, I can't complain. So
Right.
True.
Got it on a good
True.
price. Nice.
yeah.
But for what I've been playing, I've been continuing my Dragon Quest XI journey, having a really good time, enjoying it. Can't wait to see where else it goes. Nothing much more to report, just, continuing the story. Nothing crazy has happened since. But it's really good, really enjoying it. And I'm enjoying it so much so that I'm like, I want to get into Dragon Quest, and I went and purchased the original games 1 to 3 on the Switch because they were on sale. I was like, okay, why not? And I started playing Dragon Quest 1 as well. And surprisingly, enjoying it despite it being a super old game. But yeah, I'm excited to get into this series. But more importantly, I've been dipping my toes into something that I shouldn't, and I'm scared. And I played Resident Evil 7, and I have Game Pass on PC, so I was like, oh, it's there. And the only reason that I did boot it up is because I was with my girlfriend at the time, and she was like, let's play a scary game. I was like, okay, what do you want to play? And just like Resident Evil 7 was there, so we played that for a long time, and we got pretty deep into it. So we took turns like going back and forth with it, but it's a good game. I'm hesitating saying that because it makes me want to play it more. But
Yeah.
it is really good. And right now we took down the father, and we took down what's the other dude? Was there another dude? The infected guys as well. But,
Yeah.
But right now
Yeah.
we're in Mama's area, so the mom is the big threat right now. So we got outside. So now we're like in the boathouse bayou swamp area right now, with all.
That's a great part.
Oh, is it a great part? So there's like all the big, huge mosquitoes. I don't even know what kind of bugs they are, but they're creepy, very creepy. So
Is this your first Resident Evil game?
I played RE2. I played the remake.
Okay.
I haven't beaten it, but I did play that before. So it's not my first, and I have played a remake of the first one on PlayStation when it was part of PlayStation Plus. But this is the furthest I've gotten into one, though. This is definitely as deep as I've gotten into one, and I'm enjoying it. So there's that. And
I love that you're doing a co-op too.
yes,
Sorry.
yeah. There's no way I'm doing this by myself. Yeah.
Does that mean that you guys are going to play together on Resident Evil Village next?
Potentially, that would be really cool. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now,
We'll see.
I will caution you. I thought that Village wasn't going to be scary until I got to the dollhouse.
Yeah,
Oh my
right.
god, that's frightening. Oh,
God.
Do you guys remember PT? The
Yes.
demo? Yeah, that's I had to do
Yeah.
passing the controller around to beat that because I just could not do it. That game is so scary.
oh.
There was one part where my girlfriend was playing, and a scary part came out, and she literally just threw the controller at me. It was like, you play. Like, she literally like hit my wrist, and I was like, oh, why?
That's hilarious.
It's definitely a fun time. But moving on,
That's awesome.
finally, to the topic of the show. Battlefield 2042 got a reveal trailer today. And it did that thing that the Ubisoft thing did. Can video game people developers
Don't do that.
just stop doing this. When you're going to premiere at that time. Like they did the countdown, and it's even worse on YouTube because they have the countdown before their countdown. So when they started their live stream, there was another 60-minute countdown, I think. And people were not happy about that, but we finally got there, and it was, well, not for everyone, but for me it was a really great trailer. Mainly because I wasn't waiting around for it. I came when it was time. So I felt like it was worth the wait because I waited like 10 minutes. But yeah, there's a lot to talk about. It was a really cool trailer. First off, I'll just open the table to you, Christian. What is your history with Battlefield, and how excited are you for 2042?
I've been playing the Battlefield games since Battlefield 2 on PC, with the exception of Hardline. I skipped that one, and it seemed to be like the right call. I don't think people really seem to enjoy that one as much. 1 and 5 I thought were just fine, but I didn't stay. And that's the new Battlefield 1, by the way. I should mention the World War 1 game. But I've been itching to get back into like proper Battlefield for a while. Bad Company 2 in particular is one of my favorite games of the series, and it's I know it's a spin-off, but like God, that game is so good. And then Battlefield 3 and 4, like I don't care, like it's fine. Like the story, the single player, if you have like bad thoughts about that, then sure, that's fine, and you're probably even right. But the multiplayer is like so like addicting and fun, and I'm just so excited to get back into it. And this trailer did exactly that for me. Like, I can't wait. I recommend everyone go check out the 4K upload on YouTube, slap on some headphones, and like listen to those like sound effects. It's insane.
Daniel, how about you?
Yes. So first off, I want to say I saw all the people freaking out on Twitter when that 60-minute timer came up, and I was happy. I was ecstatic because I was in the aquarium with my nephew and my sister, and I'm like, oh, there's no way I'm going to make this. And then they put the 60-minute timer up. I'm like, sweet, I'll be home by then. I'll be good.
So what you're saying is this is your fault, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. Blame me. But yeah. Amazing trailer. My favorite part of the trailer was actually the freaking moment where the pilot ejects out of the seat, shoots the RPG at the other jet, and gets back in, which was a freaking homage to a fan thing that happened in Battlefield 3 or 4, I think. It's just, that's so cool to see DICE appreciate their fans in that way, because that moment was so like iconic to see. And like Christian, I've been playing since Battlefield 2 as well, so I'm very excited for this new modern Battlefield to come back. And yes, I wish Battlefield Bad Company would return as well, because I love the humor in that campaign, and those characters were so good. And I'm still confused to this day when EA came out after Bad Company 2 and said that they weren't sure why Bad Company did so well. I was like, what? Wait, what? They didn't know how to make a Bad Company game again after Bad Company 2. I was like, ugh. But
we made a good game. Oops.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Bro, are you excited?
I am very excited. No, unlike you guys, I don't have such a huge history with Battlefield. I played the new one, not the first Battlefield, but Battlefield 1. And I stuck around for that for quite a while. I enjoyed my time with that, but military shooters just usually aren't my thing unless they're kind of like what we just saw, where they're kind of crazy and over the top, and like the wingsuits had me super excited. The whole verticality of what we saw has me very excited for like you said, with the guy jumping off of the airplane, and just crazy stunts like that could be possibly possible with this game. That's what really excites me. And I'm going to read a couple of tidbits here from the reveal that also have me excited. So Conquest and Breakthrough return, so that may mean something to you guys if those are modes from the previous games. They're making a comeback. But what's really cool is their 128 players are going to be on a map on PC, PS4, or PS5, sorry, and Xbox Series S and X. On PS4, there'll be 64 players because the system just can't handle it. But yeah, that massive player count is super exciting. I can't wait to see how that works out with what we saw today, with all the crazy stuff that's going on, with just a bunch of other people doing also just crazy stuff at the same time you are. It's going to be really cool to see how that works out.
From what I read too, every map I think is supposed to have like dynamic weather moments, like we saw in the trailer, like the huge tornado. So that with 128 players is going to be like, if you're going to have a moment like every time you play, like, oh my god, I can't believe this happened.
Yeah.
And this is how it goes in Battlefield.
I wonder also, we were talking about Overwatch 2 getting crossplay a little earlier. I wonder how this affects like crossplay between generations. Like, are they just not going to have it, or are they going to have it where like if you're on next gen playing with old gen, you have to play with their 64 players? Because I think they said actually they made the maps smaller as well for last gen, since it's only 64 players as well. So I'm kind of curious about how that affects crossplay. But
maybe it's just PS4 and Xbox and get to play together, and then PC, PS5, and Xbox Series get to play together. I don't know.
That makes sense.
I have no idea how that works. But
Ro, did you ever play Battlefield 4?
No. I think 1 is literally the only one that I've played actually. Yeah.
There's a game mode called Rush, and it's in multiple game modes, but it's defending side, and your job as an attacker is to go to these 2 bomb sites, plant the bombs or whatever, capture those points, and then once you capture those, the enemy has to retreat, right? And so you're rushing the enemy back further until you win. But one of the maps would start off on top of a mountain, and as an attacker, you would have to jump off with like your whole group of 30 players and jump down together. And it's hopefully it's some moments like this in the next Battlefield.
Yeah, it seems like it. Like with the screenshots that we got in the trailer as well. Seems like we will get a lot of moments like that. Like you said, there's dynamic events and storms. There's 7 massive maps as they describe it, but as Daniel said, a little bit dumbed down for past gen. There's going to be a season pass, seasons with battle passes. You'll get 1 free and 1 that is paid for. So kind of like assume what is Fortnite right now and what is Destiny right now. There's a free path at the top, and at the bottom, if you pay for the extra content, you'll get the extra content. The game comes out October 22nd. But I do have some questions. Like you guys kind of touched upon it a little bit, but they're not going to have a campaign in this one. This is just multiplayer, and they're charging, full price for it. Do you guys have any problems with that? Or are you, fine with cashing out the $70? I'll ask you, Christian, how do you feel about no campaign and the price point being full price?
I don't mind at all, to be honest. I think it's been a while since the last Battlefield. It seems like they've made some great improvements. We haven't even seen what the gameplay is going to be looking like. I'm sure it'll be just fine. Like, I think that's okay for a game to be multiplayer only, and to do a great job with what it's trying to do. So I don't see a problem at all, personally. Dan, do you disagree?
No, I completely agree. And like we were talking about with Overwatch earlier, Overwatch doesn't have a campaign either. It's a multiplayer. Obviously, they have like a bot type thing that you can do. But yeah, honestly, the last several Battlefield campaigns really haven't been anything like, crazy or monumental or anything like that. So I don't think it's necessarily a requirement for a Battlefield game to need a campaign for it to be great. And I did like the vignettes that they did for Battlefield 1. I played those. They had like these little vignettes where you played different stories, like little stories throughout, history. I thought those were very cool. And I think they have a similar thing with Battlefield 5, but I never even played them. So it's like, I always played the multiplayer in Battlefield 5. So, I do think that campaign for Battlefield is less of a big deal unless they go back and make a new Bad Company game, because those games are great, as Christian and I both already begged EA for.
Yeah, I also have no problem with it being, it's 60 on PlayStation 4 and 70 on current gen. But yeah, I also have no problem with that. There's many multiplayer games that I played full price for and haven't seen a problem with it, because I got my money's worth out of it. They were quality experiences, and I don't think it being multiplayer means it needs to be cheaper. And I also don't think them removing the campaign means it's going to be a lesser experience if they put all their effort. Obviously they are, but if they put enough effort into the multiplayer experiences to make it worth the $70. There's somebody in the chat who disagrees. I'm not going to read their name because it just feels offensive, but he says Battlefield 2042 is $70 launching, and with only 6 maps, has 7 maps, buddy, and no single player. Do not pre-order. So obviously, entitled to your opinion. Don't have to pre-order if you don't want to, but I think we all agree here that $70 isn't really much of a turn-off for us, but totally understand why people may be against the idea of paying $70 for just multiplayer if they were expecting a campaign and other stuff. Go ahead.
No, and like he's totally right. Like, if they feel like it's not the package that they're expecting, like they have every right to vote with their wallet, and that's totally fine. I honestly, there's been a few like scuttlebutt around Twitter that I know Dan is predicting the game will come to Game Pass, and even if that isn't true, with EA Play and Game Pass having some kind of deal they're working, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing some kind of like free trial period. Get a certain amount of hours, you can at least try the game and see if you would be willing to spend the $60 to $70.
Good news, Christian. Mm-hmm. There is a 10-hour free trial if you have EA Play.
Really?
Yes. All
Wow.
EA games, they always have a 10-hour trial, and they actually confirmed that for Battlefield 2042 as well. So if you have EA Play, which is I think $30 a year, you get a bunch of benefits with that. You get a 10-hour trial for Battlefield 2042.
That's solid.
Very
Yeah.
good, very good. I am also reading.
Now-
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to read the another comment from chat. Gilbo Biggins, who's a buddy of mine in real IRL, he's hoping that the full price tag results in a fair microtransaction and battle pass. So do you think that'll play a part at all in anything? Do you think them charging somebody is going to mean like microtransactions are going to be a little bit less invasive?
It's EA, so who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Yeah, I feel like they learned their lesson from Battlefront 2 because obviously DICE developed Battlefront 2 as well. I feel like they're not going to make the same mistake twice. At least I wouldn't think they would. Especially with a full price game. Like, you know, I would understand if Battlefield 2042 was a free to play game and then they had microtransactions to support it. But yeah, I just don't feel like they're going to make the same mistake like that. But yeah, I saw that dude's name in the chat and I was trying to remove it and realized I wasn't logged in as Podcast PXN. So I removed that guy because that's not an appropriate name at all for like, come on, dude.
Hey.
I'm glad I didn't see it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But wait, Roro,
Yeah.
when are we getting gameplay for this?
Yes, we're getting it on Sunday, which is the same day as Microsoft's event. So Daniel, you like Christian said, you do think that this is going to be a Game Pass game potentially?
Yeah, it's possible. I still think it's kind of like a pipe dream. I don't think it's necessarily like a guaranteed thing that we get, but I think it would be awesome and it would be a big win for Microsoft in terms of Game Pass. Like getting that big of a franchise for day one on Game Pass is huge because, I mean, you have Halo Infinite this fall. We have maybe a Forza Horizon if that gets announced at E3. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. There's back and forth on whether people think that's going to happen or not. With Playground Games making Fable, but they have two teams. So yeah, I'm very interested to see what happens there, and I want to see whether this comes true, because if this comes true, that's a very big deal for Game Pass and Microsoft.
Yeah, that would be huge. I would love that.
I mean, it's already like one of the best deals. It literally is the best deal in gaming, and having a game like that would be just another nail in the coffin to other services, I guess. Yeah.
Definitely. Well, everyone, that was Battlefield 2042. Any closing thoughts before we close the show?
3-3.
Yes.
Yeah, same. And Roro and I are going to be watching live the Xbox press conference on Sunday. I believe it starts at 1, right?
Yes.
So we'll be streaming that on the Podcast PXN channel.
Yes. Very excited for that. Yeah, this time next week we'll have a lot to talk about.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you everyone again for watching, both live on YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope. Apologies for anybody who's watching live. I'm sorry about the technical difficulties as we start, but thank you so much for sticking with us. As well, you can find us on podcast services everywhere, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, and Stitcher. Until next time, thank you everyone. Later will be greater.